Greetings, kids, and welcome to Let Me Tell You What I Know, a podcast by the Real Nubian on Twitter, where I talk about music, politics, pop culture, and whatever the hell I want. Basically giving you my 2 cents that nobody asked for. Welcome to episode 4. Today I am trying something new. Usually I script my episodes and practically read the script while trying to appear lighthearted and spontaneous. However, it seems sometimes monotonous and I get bored of my own voice, basically. So today I'm trying just to wing it. I give myself some pointers and I have topics to talk about, but I'll try to be as spontaneous as I can be and see how it goes. So let's crack on. Okay, so the first thing I want to talk about is Tay's husband, Chris Evans. A couple of weeks ago, he accidentally leaked some nudes on his Instagram feed, I think. And to be honest with you, I never bothered looking, just out of respect for Tay. Just kidding. I don't usually look at that stuff or have any interest in looking at celebrity nudes. And not because I'm a prude, but because I don't care about celebrities in that way. But the reaction is what's interesting, because he's not the first celebrity who has accidentally leaked nudes or was hacked. It happens all the time. But the reaction of the public is quite interesting, or was quite interesting. And of course, we all know that Chris Evans is a very, very liked character. He's Captain America. He's wonderful. He's a very nice guy. He has a very cute dog. Even his brother is adorable. So the hashtags that spoke about the leak were flooded with pictures of dogs and cute stuff, etc. And people said, protect Chris Evans at all costs, which I completely agree with. I am not into purporting leaked nudes, especially if they were leaked against the owner's consent. I feel it's a bit of an assault to their privacy and dignity. So I am completely for protecting Chris Evans at all costs. However, there were comments about the hypocrisy and double standards that happened when such incidents happen. Because I remember in 2017, there was an incident where a hacker stole nudes from the iClouds of several celebrities. And I specifically remember Amanda Seyfried, because she's like this wholesome America's sweetheart girl. And there were pictures of her with her boyfriend in an intimate setting that were leaked to the internet. Nobody stopped the leak. Nobody said protect Amanda at all costs. Everybody was talking about her and how a naughty girl she turned out to be, while she was doing something that's pretty normal for consenting adults in a relationship. In 2014, there was a leak, and I remember Jennifer Lawrence was one of the celebrities affected by it. And again, nobody hashtagged protect Jennifer at all cost. And last year is the most recent leak that I recall was Bella Thorne. And God knows I'm no Bella Thorne fan. I don't like her. I don't like her attitude. I don't like her relationships, especially with Tana Mojo. And what she has done on the OnlyFans platform recently is deplorable, in my opinion. So anyway, she leaked her own nudes because she claimed that a hacker hacked into her cloud, stole her pictures, and was threatening her to leak them. So as mitigation, she leaked her own nudes. And again, she was criticized for having nudes when it's not an uncommon behavior for people to take sexy pictures of themselves, whether it's like on their personal phones or it's like photo shoots for celebrities, etc. And nobody criticized Chris Evans for having nudes. I don't remember seeing that anywhere. But she was criticized, and Whoopi Goldberg had to jump on The View and say that if you have pictures of yourself on your iCloud, you shouldn't be shocked that you get hacked. Which is factual. I wouldn't say that what Ms. Goldberg said was false. However, it seems unempathetic because even if people have pictures on their iCloud or any cloud service that they choose to use, they should have a right to privacy. And we shouldn't criticize people putting pictures on their clouds. We should criticize hackers and people who steal other people's pictures and leak them without their consent. Again, I would classify it as some sort of an assault. I don't know the legal ramifications of such an act, but I don't think it's legal to steal other people's photos and leak them. So yeah, that's my opinion on that matter. I completely agree. Protect Chris Evans at all costs. He hid from social media for a little bit and then came back with an interview and diverted attention from the images to calling people to vote, which was adorable and what is expected from Captain America to do. But yeah, next time, if an unfortunate female celebrity runs into the same predicament, I wish people would behave the same way and flood the hashtags with puppies and kittens and cute stuff and K-pop fan cams to drown the problem instead of sharing her images everywhere. All right. Next order of business. While I was preparing for this, literally an hour ago, I was cruising Twitter like I do, and apparently Donald J. Trump tested positive for coronavirus. And I had to make sure that the account is real, not a parody or like a fake. Because I was completely shocked that he actually shared the information. I'm not shocked that he caught it because he keeps going to these rallies where people don't wear masks. A lot of his staff tested positive. His son's girlfriend, Kimberly Guilfoyle, I can't pronounce her name. I'm not going to pretend. I can't pronounce her name. She's the loud one. Okay? She's the loud brunette who Don Jr. is dating. And fun fact, she was married to the governor of California, which is crazy to me that she went from Gavin Newsom to Donald Jr. Trump. It's interesting. Anyway, so she tested positive a month or so before. I'm too lazy to look into the details of that. And another staffer, Hope Hicks, tested positive. Herman Cain passed away from catching coronavirus in one of his rallies. So I'm absolutely not shocked that Donald Trump and Melania tested positive for coronavirus. Now, we can talk all day about his reaction to the pandemic, calling it the Chinese virus, calling it a democratic hoax. Of course, his followers are saying that he didn't say that the virus is a hoax, but he said that the Democrats would use this as a hoax to criticize him or something of that manner, just to cover up for the fact that he said it was a hoax. And then when he realized how shitty the situation is, that he didn't say it was a hoax and he didn't downplay it. However, his reaction or his government's reaction to the pandemic was terrible. A lot of Americans lost their lives and they'll probably be banned from traveling to a bunch of countries in the future. Going back to normal is not going to be easy. It's going to take longer than what we hoped for. So we're going to see how he's going to recover from this, because I believe he's a bit of a demon and he's not going to die from it. Oh, I shouldn't laugh. No, I'm going to laugh. I'm sorry. I don't care. Anyway, another thing that really ground my gears was him trying to push chloroquine as a treatment. He mentioned it. His affiliates mention it. People who like him keep saying that, oh, Dr. Fauci is trying to hide that chloroquine works. And let me tell you something. I'm from Africa, where malaria is prevalent, and we use chloroquine on semi-daily basis. Okay? If it was effective, there would be no one in Africa suffering from coronavirus. Okay? We have cases. We have deaths. The numbers are not as high as Western countries because we don't have prevalent testing. Okay? I am sure there are people contracting it and dying from it without even knowing that they had it. So claiming that chloroquine is effective is a joke. Let's look at literature, like scientific research. There hasn't been a single study that can objectively demonstrate that chloroquine is effective against coronavirus. And here's the thing. You can give chloroquine to people for short periods of time, but many people actually spontaneously recover from coronavirus. How can you tell that this person recovered because they used chloroquine, or they were one of the lucky majority who actually recover spontaneously? You can't prove that. So claiming that using chloroquine is effective or helpful, or that it's being suppressed to control the masses is stupid, okay? It's stupid. I'm sorry. And that's my educated opinion on the matter. We could talk about this in the comments, we could share links, etc. But I'm just giving you my opinion in a nutshell, okay? The other thing that I wanted to comment on is how people in his rallies don't wear masks. But he does, Ivanka does, Melania does, Kayleigh McEnany does. They all wear them. And I think it was Ivanka who shared a picture before the presidential debate where she and the 4 other girls were wearing masks. So why aren't people who follow him wear masks too? It's interesting. And it's bothering me because all of the false information being passed around that masks are not effective, you get sicker when you wear masks, you breathe your own CO2. It's kind of a joke to me because listen, I've been working in the medical field for, let's say, how long now? 17 years. And I stand in surgery for 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. We operated on patients for 10 hours, 12 hours. And let me tell you, if I was wearing a mask for 12 hours, breathing my own CO2, as these idiots say, I would have been dead by now. Okay? And my apologies for being gross. Okay? This broadcast is put on Twitter for educational purposes. Everything they say about masks is bullshit. Now, the masks are effective. However, there is a difference between efficiency of different masks. Like if you wear an N95 mask, it's going to be more efficient than a regular surgical mask, which is going to be more effective than a regular cloth mask. And if you wear a cloth mask with a filter pocket and put a filter on it, it's going to be better, of course. So masks do work. Please wear a mask, wash your hands, and continue social distancing. Thank you. Okay, what else am I going to talk about today? I wanted to talk about the presidential debate, but that would be a bit depressing to talk about. First of all, I'm no Biden fan. Okay, I'm a Biden fan for like shits and giggles because he seems like a nice person, although his politics are not great. And he chose Kamala Harris, who, let me pronounce her name correctly. Kamala Harris. I hope I said that correctly because a lot of people mispronounce her name deliberately, and that's not my intention at all. So, Senator Harris. Senator Harris was chosen to be his running mate. And that would be epic if they win because she would be the first female vice president of the United States. God willing, she runs again. She might actually win and become the first president because Hillary is not interested. I hope Elizabeth Warren runs again. And listen, I understand all the criticisms that these people receive. However, who else is there? Okay. Yes, that was a long pause of silence deliberately that I'm not going to cut out. Because I'm not sure about Bernie Sanders and if he wants to run again. And listen, I loved Bernie in 2016. I had hashtag feel the burn all over my social media, except Twitter because I wasn't on Twitter at the time, but I was in love with Bernie Sanders. And I understand his politics and his opinions, and he's probably the closest to the left as an American presidential candidate can be, but I'm not sure about his campaign or how strong it is to attract voters. And this is the problem with American elections. How can you attract voters? It's not just your politics or how your policies sound. Otherwise, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez would be my choice for the next president, regardless of how young she is. But how to attract voters and how to attract lobbies really plays a part. And then you have the Electoral College and the swing states, and I'm still confused about all of that. despite all the good friends who try to explain it to me, it's still like messing with my head a little bit, and it's annoying, especially when it's a system that was put forth to, as let's be frank, it's voter suppression, okay? Let's be frank about that. Okay, now, the presidential debate. Listen, I'm from the Middle East, where we have seen people throw shoes at each other in parliamental conflicts. Literally, you can Google it. People in so-and-so parliament had such an aggressive argument that they beat each other up and throw shoes at each other. And it's sad and hilarious at the same time, but it puts me in a position where I can't really talk a lot about the presidential debate. Now, there's one concerning point, because let's face it, we all know Trump, we all know his lies, we don't believe him, and by we, I mean myself and people who are of similar political inclinations to myself. We don't like him, we didn't expect anything good from him, that he's going to answer questions or be truthful. His tax evasion is disgraceful. Like, let me tell you, my brother is a US citizen, and he's not rich. He's basically middle class, and he paid more taxes than Donald Trump. My father, who has a green card and has to declare his income, etc., and he's a retired man, paid more taxes than Donald Trump while living outside the United States of America. So paying $750 is a disgrace, beside the other years where he completely evaded paying taxes because he claimed that he lost more money than he made. So let's put it in perspective. Part of why Donald Trump appealed to voters in 2016, why everybody was saying, not everybody, but people who were pro-Donald Trump kept saying that he is a successful businessman and he's going to save the economy. But listen, he bankrupted a casino. Let that sink in, okay? Now, Biden was too nice. There were moments where I could have pressed on Donald Trump harder if I were Biden. He's just too nice. He's too nice for this fight, okay? I'm looking forward to the vice presidential debate because Pence is going to get demolished and I will enjoy it. I will pop the popcorn for it, and I don't drink, but if I was a drinking person, I sound drunk right now. If I was a drinking person, I would pop my finest booze and just enjoy what's happening, okay? I'm looking forward to it. So yeah, that's my opinion on the presidential debate. I think if Biden refuses to debate Trump further, that would be valid. A friend of mine tweeted that it would be more efficient for Biden to host town halls and talk to people directly instead of just wasting time debating Trump, okay? Now that Trump has to recover from coronavirus, he said he's going to quarantine for 2 weeks, but God knows if he's going to recover faster, recover in that span of time, or he's going to need more time considering his age and general health. Okay? Especially that everybody who loves Trump keeps saying that, oh, it's the elderly who's going to suffer from Trump. And Trump is no spring chicken. Anyway, wow, I talked a lot. This is like 20 minutes and I'm so proud of myself because I rambled and probably talked too fast, and I don't know if I can slow this down. I'm not great at editing yet. I can remove the background noise and cut off the ums and ahs and long pauses. But will I be able to slow this down? I don't know. I'll play with it and see what happens. So, what else did I want to talk about? Yeah. So, guys, I'm dipping my toes into anime again. And if you see me changing my avatar on Twitter to an anime avatar, just send an assassin to kill me. Okay? Because everyone on Twitter knows how I feel about anime avatars. And this is not a blanket generalization. I have friends who have anime avatars and followers that I completely and dearly like. But I'm just talking about the stereotype where anime avatars who are generally white weebs who love anime, think it's reality, have this like completely warped view of the world, and usually post the shittiest takes on Twitter. Okay? Anyway. Here's the history. And I talked about my friend I Dream of Ninja about this before because a bunch of my friends are like genuine anime fans and I love them. And I completely respect their dedication. I grew up watching anime actually because in the Middle East, we didn't have our own cartoons like the Americans or Europeans do. We didn't have like Hanna-Barbera Studio or Disney Studios or whatever. So what we relied on was Japanese anime that was produced in the 70s and 80s and then dubbed into Arabic by a company in Kuwait. And it was glorious. Yeah, there was another company in Lebanon, and they also had very, very good productions as well. The language was beautiful. They were quite respectful to the original content and not too much censorship. So it was great. So I grew up watching a couple of animes from the 70s. And the first one I remember that was pretty popular, and everybody bought the VHS videos or VHS tapes when the show went off air, was Future Boy Conan. And it was, let me see my notes again because my memory is trash. There was a novel published in 1970 by Alexander Key called The Incredible Tide about a post-apocalyptic world where probably resembles Noah's flood, and people were living in small islands, and there was like this immense power with great weapons that was trying to take over the world again and blah, 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 whatever. And it was dubbed in Arabic. People loved it. If you understand Arabic, you would know Adnan and Lina cartoons. So that's what it was called. And another anime that probably explains my obsession with Pacific Rim was called Dinosaur War Eisenborg, which was produced in 1977 and then dubbed into Arabic, and we watched it in the 80s. And the early 80s, because I was born in 1981 and I remember watching it with my brother before we got into school. So probably the early 80s, before 1995 and 1986, sorry. I was born in 1981 if I missaid that. And okay. The anime was a combination between anime and live action. It's called tokusatsu filming, which was used to produce horror and fantasy films in Japan. Basically, the original Godzilla, the kaiju films. So the cartoon was two siblings, a brother and sister, which was myself and my brother. We used to play them and create their hand controllers of their vehicles with blocks. And their team and the professor who helps them out, blah, blah. Those were in anime form. And the dinosaurs that crept out from the center of the earth were in live action form. And they have this like great machine that looks like the Pacific Rim Jaeger. It's a combination of like two parts or whatever. And yeah, it's basically Pacific Rim in anime form. Why am I making this such a long story? Anyway, I loved it. I was a big fan. We watched it. We had the VHS tapes and we played them until they started fading. So I basically grew up watching anime. Now, I haven't watched anime in years and years and years. And suddenly in probably 2008, an intern of mine mentioned that he was an anime fan and he talked about Naruto at the time. And I was like, okay, I don't have time for this, and didn't pay attention. But thanks to the quarantine, I've been cruising Netflix, and they have quite the anime collection. First of all, I've been wanting to watch Studio Ghibli movies for a while, and since Middle East Netflix has them, I'm very grateful for that. I started watching, and of course, when you start watching something, Netflix starts suggesting other stuff to you. So it suggested Violet Evergarden, and I loved it. It suggested Full Metal Alchemist, and I semi-loved it, except the Nina Tucker part. Let's not talk about it. I'm depressed when I think about it. I hate my life when I think about it. So let's move on from that. And now I'm watching series The Jaeger, which is about the Jaeger troop that fights vampires in Imperial Japan in the 30s, and I love that. I started watching Van Helsing and I hated it, so I'm not gonna continue with it. I don't like it. So, yeah. What else? Yeah, these are the animes I'm watching right now. And I'm having a lot of fun, actually. As my friend Chris once said, anime is fun. Just fun, fun, fun. So I'm not gonna overthink what I watch. Especially with the anime that's on Netflix, it's pretty not very problematic, as we would say. Oh, I forgot to mention Castlevania. Yeah, because it should rhyme with Transylvania, so it's Castlevania. I love that show. Love it. It's so deep and it has so much information about the old times. It's quite deep. I love it. And yeah, that's basically the situation with anime right now. And if you give me a year and all the time in the world, I'll probably be an anime nerd too. It's interesting. So what else did I want to talk about? I wanted to mention that I'm going back to reading as avidly as I used to read when I was younger, which Twitter had taught me that it's an escape mechanism from having no friends because I was the lonely nerd in school until probably the 8th grade when I started having real friends, as people would say. And before that, I would just go to school, hang out with people just randomly, and then go back home and forget about everything and just study, do my homework, and read my books. So yeah. I'm going back to reading, and I want to shout out the friends who are actually encouraging me to go back to reading. So hi Daphne, hi Ninja, hi Moxie, hi Wendy. And special shout out to Moxie because I enjoy her raging about 1984 the most. Listen, this is one of the most celebrated books in literature history, and I hate it, okay? It's a cautionary tale. I respect the politics and the political message in it, but the way it's written is so annoying and so infuriating, especially how the female characters are written. And Julia is trash, thank you. So having the book club discussing the book and just Moxie raging about it just gives me life, okay? It gives me life. I love it. And I want to use the books I'm currently reading as material for going back to writing and blogging again. So wish me luck, because I don't want to suck at that. It would break my heart. So I'll just take my time and try to be as systematic and organized about it as I can. All right. So now that I have put myself on the spot and promised people a blog, this is the only way to push me to actually do it, because I function in 2 ways. Either I fear embarrassment and disappointing other people, or I have a deadline. Otherwise, nothing in my life would get done. We have a reputation to uphold. I have become a people pleaser. Especially when it comes to academics or professional settings. So yeah, that's the story of my life here. That would be the end of today's episode. Today's episode. And as I say every time, take care of yourselves, take care of others. And because the pandemic is not over, wash your hands, wear a mask, and continue social distancing. I love you all, and I'm out of here. Bye.